In the early hours of April 26, 1986, alarms shattered the night's silence. Fire trucks raced through the dark forests toward the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant. From a distance, a strange glow painted the horizon. The men inside believed they were responding to a routine roof fire. They had no idea they were driving toward the epicenter of a nuclear catastrophe. They thought it was just a fire. As they emerged from the trees, the true scale of the disaster became horrifyingly clear. The massive structure of Reactor 4 was torn open, spewing a terrifying, ethereal blue and red light into the sky. Flames licked at what remained of the roof, and the air was filled with an eerie silence, broken only by the crackle of fire and the hiss of steam. Chunks of glowing black material littered the ground around them. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Without hesitation, they charged into the inferno. Their training kicked in. Connect the hoses, climb the ladders, fight the blaze. Shouts and commands were swallowed by the roar of the fire as they directed their water cannons onto the melting debris. They were a team, a brotherhood, working with grit and determination to contain what they still believed was just a fire. But the closer they got to the reactor's exposed core, the brighter that unnatural blue glow became. The real enemy, however, was invisible. A strange metallic taste filled their mouths. Sweat poured down their faces, not just from the heat but from something else. Nausea and dizziness began to set in. One firefighter, seeing a piece of shiny black rock, picked it up, only to drop it instantly, his hands seared. They were being saturated by a lethal dose of radiation, an unseen force that was tearing their bodies apart from the inside. They were sacrificing themselves without even knowing the true nature of the danger. As dawn approached, the worst of the flames were subdued, but the men who had fought so bravely began to stumble and collapse. The heroes who had just saved a continent were now the victims. The sound of sirens returned, but this time, they were for the rescuers themselves. Ambulances rushed in, and a new kind of chaos, one of quiet panic and desperation, took hold as they began to evacuate the fallen. In the sterile white hallways of the hospital, the full tragedy became apparent. Doctors, unprepared for this kind of injury, stared in shock at the firefighters. Their skin, once healthy, was now marked with severe burns. The men who had walked into the fire with such courage were now pale and weak, their bodies ravaged by an enemy they couldn't see. As a new day dawned over the ruins of Reactor 4, a silent, empty city stood witness. The wind whispered through Pripyat, carrying the legacy of the 28 firefighters who gave their lives to prevent an even greater disaster. Their sacrifice reminds us that the greatest acts of heroism often come from ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. Thank you for watching. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that honors our history.